Hello guys, so in this video we're gonna continue talking about the streams in Node.js, right? First of all, Node.js has 4 types of streams. So it has readable stream, writable, duplex, and transform stream. Before I dive deep in each one of them, I first want to talk about that node streams are event emitters, right? Event emitters, it's a special class in Node that implements the observer pattern. So the observer pattern is a design pattern that gives us flexibility when you're modeling one-to-many relationships between objects. So in this pattern we have a publisher that maintains a list of subscribers and notifies them when a state changes. So in Node, if we look here in this file, not in this file here. So here we have this special class in Node, the Event Emitter. And here I have this bin class that extends this event emitter, and now I have access to all the methods from this parent class. So here we have event emitter has 2 main methods, the on method and the emit method. So the on method is used to add a callback function that is going to be executed when the event is triggered, right? And the emit method that is used to trigger the event. So if I open this file and execute it here, we're gonna see that first we subscribe to two handlers here, right? So I have I'm going to console log pong in the event of ping, and pong uppercase in the event of ping. So if I meet this event ping, I'm gonna have 2 pong in lowercase and pong in uppercase. So let's see pong pong, right? So it's a very good utility class in Node. It's easy to use and it's nice. And the streams in Node extends this event emitter class. So we have all these methods present in the streams. So we can subscribe to an event using this on method. So here I want to talk about the first type of stream in Node, that are the readable stream, right? So the readable stream is used when we have a source of data like a file, right? And we want to read from the file, like this example here. So a chunk of this file it's put in the readable stream internal buffer, and our application will read from this buffer, right? And after the application reads from this buffer, it allows to put another chunk of these files in this buffer. So how do you know when there is data on this buffer? So when there is data available on the buffer, the readable event will be emitted, right? So if there is information, the readable event will be emitted, and we can read the data from this buffer using the read method, right? And we can call this read method until it returns null. So if this read method returns null, means that we don't have anything left on the internal buffer of the stream, and we have to wait for another readable event. So after we read everything in the internal buffer, we have to wait for another event to start reading again, right? Here in this example, so I'm reading from the internal buffer. I taking this chunk and transform to a string because it's a buffer initially. In here, I'm counting all the new lines on this chunk, right? And I'm adding to this line count right here. And after I read all the data from the string, the end event will be emitted. So in this end event, I will console log the number of lines in this file. So let's try it out. So I have here, right? Let me open this folder, ts node, one readable stream. So if I call it numbers of lines, 326, right? If I use this WC program, oh, sorry, it's the lorem file right here. We have the same numbers of lines, all right? So that's the basic usage of the readable stream, right? But the readable stream has two modes, right? Here, what we are seeing is the non-flowing or paused mode, right? So first we receive this event that there is data available on the buffer, and then we read it. But there's another way we can read the data from the streams, right? Using the flowing mode. So in the flowing mode, let me open the file, this mode here. The data is pushed to the listener as soon as it arrives. So in this mode, we have less flexibility because we are not reading from the buffer the way we want. So we just attach this listener receiving this chunk, and we don't have any control in the size of this chunk or what this chunk's gonna be, and we have less flexibility in this way, right? And it works this almost the same way, right? It's the same program here. If we executed this program, we see numbers of lines 326, but it follows another rules, right? And one thing that's really important, that the default mode for the readable streams is the non-flowing mode, right? It's this mode here. In most of the examples we see in using Node, we see the listener attached to the event data, and when we do that, automatically we are changing the mode of the stream. So if you attach this listener on the data event, we are using the flowing mode, right, on this stream. We can change that, so we can stop this flowing mode using some methods on the stream, right? So here, let me open this file here. So here we have an example where I'm reading from this lorem ipsum text, right? In here, I read the first chunk, right? So here, I'm touching this callback to the data event, right? so I read the first chunk, but if it's first, so if it's my first chunk, I will pause this string. So when I pause the strings, it goes back to the non-flowing mode. So it'll stop receiving these chunks, right? But here I set a timeout where I change again the mode of the streams back to the flowing mode by calling this method resume, right? So after 10 seconds, I'll call this resume method, and then we go back to the flowing mode again. We will see the console log here of the stream again. So we can test that here. So ts node for readable streams. If you execute that, we can see the first chunk, right? And after 10 seconds, we will see the rest of the strings. So here you go. And that's it for now, for the readable streams. In the next video, we're gonna be talking about the other types of streams, the writable, and probably the duplex and transform streams. But that's it, guys. I hope you guys like it, and thank you.